The sun rises early through the courthouse hallway blinds, casting thin stripes of light across Christine's face. Her face is set, but her eyes speak of sleepless nights and the crushing burden of everything that's brought her to this place. The ring of her heels off the marble floor rings out louder than ever as she approaches the door to the courtroom, each step a reminder that this is not some ordinary fight. This is her freedom in the dock. Kody is already seated, his stance confident, smug. He's wearing a navy suit that's too well tailored for someone whose family is disintegrating publicly. Robin is seated to his rear, hands clasped so hard around her purse that her knuckles turn white. Janelle and Mary aren't present yet, but Christine understands they're looking on, waiting, just as all the other people are who have ever loved or despised this family. The camera teams are outside. They're not permitted in the courtroom, but the rumors slip through the door, reporters, fans, and critics debating on whose side they stand. Christine's finally standing up for herself, one tells us. No, Kody's the real victim here, another insists. The drama has already been pumped up before the judge even arrives. Christine sits down next to her lawyer, a placid woman in her 50s with piercing eyes and a voice that can cut through din. Breathe, she whispers. This is your day to talk. Christine nods, but her heart is pounding in her chest. This isn't merely about money. This is about truth. Decades of silence, skepticism, and dismissal have led her to this point. The sun streams through the courthouse hallway blinds, casting thin lines of illumination on Christine's face. Her gaze is unyielding, but the telltale signs of sleepless nights and the crushing weight of all that's brought her to this point show in her eyes. The sound of her heels on the marble floor sounds louder than ever as she heads towards the courtroom door. Every step a reminder that this is not another argument. This is her freedom on trial. Kody is seated in already, his stance secure, nearly smug. He's dressed in a navy suit that's too professional for a man whose family is disintegrating before the eyes of the world. Robin is seated behind him, hands clenched tight over her purse so that her knuckles are white. Janelle and Mary aren't yet present, but Christine knows they're out there, observing, waiting, just as all the rest are who've ever loved or detested this family. Camera crews stand outside. They aren't permitted inside the courtroom, but the hushed voices filter through the door, reporters, groupies, and critics debating whose team they're on. Christine's finally standing up to herself, a voice claims. No, Kody's the true victim here, another protests. The air is already charged before the judge even appears. Christine takes her seat beside her attorney, a calm woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a voice that can slice through noise. Breathe, she whispers. This is your day to speak. Christine nods, but inside her heart is racing. This isn't just about money. It's about truth. Years of being silenced, doubted, and dismissed have brought her here, because sometimes the most silent voice in the room speaks the loudest truth. And today, Christine is finished being silent. The judge enters at last, his robe flowing as he sits down. This court is now in session, he announces sternly. Case of Brown versus Brown, issues of financial deception, emotional trauma, and violation of marital contract. The words are heavy in the air, and Christine's stomach churns. She never believed it would come to this. Not among the people who once referred to themselves as a family. Kody's attorney comes first, tightening his tie. Your Honor, my client has been unjustly charged with financial impropriety. The money involved was always spent on the family's common needs. Any implication to the contrary is an emotional response, not a legal reality. His tone is silky, practiced, full of arrogance. Christine breathes slowly. Emotional response. That's what they've always described as her reality. Each tear, each cry for equality, labeled as overreacting. She looks at Kody, who returns her stare with a small, self-assured smile. The same expression he'd given her when he dictated every choice in their marriage. Her attorney stands up next. Your Honor, this is not a matter of emotion. This is deception. For years, Mrs. Brown added to a joint family income that was intended to benefit all wives and children alike. What she found is that significant amounts were diverted, without her permission, to accounts attributed solely to Mr. Brown and one other individual. A whisper rings through the courtroom. Robin casts her eyes downward as if not to hear. Christine observes her, curious to know how many lies were spoken in the name of family harmony. The first witness is summoned. A former accountant who formerly oversaw the Brown family's finances during the peak of their television popularity. He's fidgety but blunt. Yes, I did the books, he attests. There were a number of cases where joint-use funds were transferred into private accounts that Mrs. Brown was not told about. The room is silent. Kody clenches his face, but he does not wince. He has practiced covering over pain well. The judge makes a couple of jottings. And who signed off on those transfers? The accountant pauses. Mr. Brown, sometimes with Mrs. Robin Brown's electronic signature. Christine's breath hitches. She suspected as much. Each time she asked why the family budget was dwindling, she was informed she didn't get the bigger picture. Turns out the bigger picture is a bank statement she was never supposed to see. Her lawyer lays a hand on her arm, anchoring her. Stay on track, she says softly. This is just the beginning. Kody's attorney jumps up to cross-examine. Isn't it the case, he snaps, that these transactions were part of the production cost of the television show? You can't establish intent to defraud. The accountant gulps hard. I can't address intent, but the timing and secrecy of the transfers were unusual. They didn't comply with normal accounting transparency. The attorney dramatically sighs and faces the judge again. Your Honor, my client has always been forthcoming with his money. This case is one of personal grudge, not economic malfeasance. Christine's chest constricts once more. He's framing the story just as he always did, portraying her as the emotional one, the unpredictable one. She clenches her teeth to silence the shaking in her voice as she leans over toward her lawyer. He is lying, she breathes, hardly audible. Her attorney acquiesces. I know, and will establish it. As the lunch recess is announced, Christine exits into the corridor. Reporters surged forward, microphones held out. Christine, what do you think of today's testimony? Do you believe Kody betrayed the family? Is Robin implicated? She pauses, choosing her words carefully. I'm not here to destroy anyone, she says softly. I'm here to tell the truth. Sometimes that's the only way to heal. Her voice shakes, but it's enough. The reporters catch it. The audience watching at home feels it. This isn't vengeance. This is liberation. Kody exits moments later with Robin by his side, shielding his eyes from the flashing cameras. This is ridiculous, he mutters under his breath. They'll twist everything. Robin touches his arm, whispering, just stay calm. We'll fix this. But there's a flicker of doubt in her tone, something Christine notices even from across the hallway. Within the courtroom, the clerk starts setting up files for the afternoon session. Christine looks at the fat pile of evidence on the table in front of her, years' worth of bank records, emails, and personal texts. Every page recounts a bit of the story she's had to shoulder on her own for too long. She knows the worst is yet to come, the day she'll be forced to testify and confront him face to face. To inform the world what it was like to love a man who used her commitment as leverage. To expose the portion of their marriage no camera ever captured, the clock in the hall clangs loudly. 1 hour before testimony resumes. Christine breathes in deeply and closes her eyes, talking to herself softly. No more fear, no more silence. As doors open once more and everyone walks back inside, tension builds. The judge reappears, shuffling notes. We will now hear from Mrs. Brown herself, he states. The courtroom falls silent immediately. Everyone looks at Christine as she stands, her heart racing. Kody observes her intently, face uninterpretable. But inside, there's something in his eyes, something between defiance and fear. He has no idea what she is going to tell him. Christine proceeds to the witness stand, touches her hand to the Bible, and promises to speak the truth. The instant her voice rings in the courtroom, it's shaky, but firm. My name is Christine Brown, she starts, and for years I believed in something that wasn't real. The camera cuts outside. The narrative everyone has assumed they know is on the verge of being rewritten, sentence by the woman who experienced it. Christine tucks the microphone in slightly, her fingers quivering just enough for the jurors to see. The courtroom is colder now, the type of chill that permeates confidence and memory both. She gazes directly ahead, not at Kody, not at Robin, but at the judge, as if his eyes alone are safe. When we began this family, she starts, we did believe in equality. Every wife, every child, every home, equal in love, respect, and support. But that promise was broken long before I left. The silence in the room is palpable. You can practically hear the scratching of pens from reporters in the back of the room. Kody fidgets in his seat, his jaw clenching, but he maintains his fixed stare on the table. Christine goes on, her voice low but resolute. I didn't come here for revenge. I came here because for years I lived under a narrative that wasn't mine. The cameras captured smiles, but off camera. There were secrets. Money missing, decisions made without us, love used as a weapon. Her lawyer nods encouragingly. Can you explain to the court what you mean by that, Mrs. Brown? Christine takes a deep breath. I mean, when I challenged decisions, I was informed that I didn't have faith. When I asked where the money was going, I was informed that it was for the good of the family. And when I wanted to make decisions for my children, I was informed that I wasn't being loyal. Every aspect of me, my voice, my confidence, was eroded in the name of unity. Kody's attorney stands, obviously agitated. Objection, Your Honor. This is emotional, not factual. The judge looks over. Overruled. Proceed, Mrs. Brown. The emotional context is important to motive. Christine swallows hard and glances momentarily at Kody. You recall that evening, don't you? She speaks softly. When I inquired if you'd use the joint funds to buy Robin's home. Kody's head jerks up. That doesn't matter, he grumbles. The attorney pulls on his arm, reminding him to keep quiet. Christine continues. You explained it was an investment to all of us. You stated she required stability. But I went to verify later, and the loan was listed only in your two names. That was when I understood. I was no longer a part of the family's foundation. I was just a wall holding it up. The courtroom mutters again. Robin even looks uncomfortable now, not meeting Christine's eyes. Her fingers wring a tissue, her mascara smudged under the stress of the cameras. Christine's attorney holds up a folder of papers. Your Honor, Exhibit B, bank statements detailing withdrawals from the joint family account to pay for a private mortgage in the name of Mr. and Mrs. Robin Brown. The judge looks at it intently, brow knitting. These are big sums, he says. Mr. Brown, how do you answer to this? Kody rises, the seasoned smoothness of a man accustomed to acting. Your Honor, I did what I believed was best. Robin had kids, obligations. The family required stability in one home to stabilize everyone. The money was to finance that stability, even if it meant abandoning your other wives in rented houses? The judge inquires bluntly. Kody's mouth is agape, but no words emerge. The atmosphere is charged. Christine drops her eyes, fighting to keep the emotion from spilling onto her face. Her lawyer inches forward. Christine, tell us, what was life like after that? Christine exhales a breath that seems to have been trapped inside her for decades. It was quiet, empty. I began to see the bond we'd formed only applied when it benefited him. The rest of us were mere pieces in a narrative he dictated. She pauses. The television crew didn't capture the late-night battles. They didn't capture the tears. They didn't capture the isolation in a house with an army of people. And when I finally said I couldn't live like that, I was told I was breaking the family apart. But the truth is, it was already broken. Kody's lawyer stands again, pacing. Mrs. Brown, you say you were silenced, yet you chose to appear on national television for over a decade. Wouldn't you agree that you had a platform to speak your truth? Christine glances up, eyes burning. A platform doesn't equal freedom, she responds. I was part of an act, not a narrative I dictated. Any time I attempted to make my voice heard, I was instructed to be patient, to consider the family reputation. I was loyal. Too loyal, the lawyer smirks. And yet here you are, portraying yourself as victimized. She does not blink. No, she speaks softly. I'm painting myself as the survivor. The room is still once more. Even the judge glances away from his notes, reading her face. Kody scowls deeply, fingers drumming on the table. Christine's attorney intervenes softly. Let's proceed to the next piece of evidence. Christine, can you clarify this text exchange 2 years ago? On the screen behind her, a text thread appears between Christine and Kody. His words glow across the room. You're acting out of emotion again. Don't make decisions you'll regret. Christine's reply, I'm not emotional. I'm just tired of being invisible. The jury whispers the words softly, faces relaxing. Christine's voice cracks as she continues. I wasn't seeking power. I was seeking to be noticed. But in that family, being noticed meant being punished. Robin's face turns beet red. That's not fair, she whispers aloud, but the microphones pick it up. The courtroom is turned her way. The judge arches an eyebrow. Mrs. Robin Brown, if you have something to say, you'll have your opportunity. She cringes back, her head shaking. Kody is now seething, muttering into his attorney. Christine observes him. This man she fought for, loved, guarded. It's so foreign to see him backed up against the wall, see the facade crack just a little bit. The judge raps his gavel on the podium. Mrs. Brown, your statement is solid and thorough, but emotional distress isn't basis for restitution alone. Can you present proof of deception or intent to hide finances? Christine nods and looks at her lawyer, who opens a new folder. We have one more paper, Your Honor. An email exchange between the family accountant and Mr. Brown dated 2 years prior to the separation. In this email, he clearly tells the accountant not to reveal some account balances to the other wives. The judge's face becomes stern. Is that true, Mr. Brown? Kody pauses, then answers between clenched teeth. Those emails were out of context. It was for privacy, not secrecy. The judge's eyebrow goes up. Privacy from whom, Mr. Brown? Your own wives? The room gasps once more. Kody's calm crumbles for the first time. He glances at Robin and then at Christine. For an instant, the confidence leaves his face. The judge calls for a 5-minute recess. The air is so charged that steel could snap. Christine sits silently, gazing at the wood grain of the witness stand, attempting to calm her breath. She is exposed, raw, yet lighter in some way, like each truth is stripping away the years of silence. As the people exit, Janelle stands in the doorway. She's been sitting in the gallery, hidden until now. Their eyes lock, and Janelle provides a silent nod of encouragement. It's the first genuine moment of sisterhood Christine's experienced in years. Kody looks up and notices it too, his jaw clenching. The lines of authority he used to draw are unraveling, strand by strand. Christine rises slowly, her lawyer whispering, You did good. Tomorrow will be tough, but this is how you win them around. She smiles, her voice a mere whisper. Tomorrow's when the truth becomes personal. The courthouse the next morning feels heavier. The sky is gray, clouds pressing low, as if even nature is aware the truth is going to cut deeper today. Reporters line the steps before dawn, whispering theories about what Christine will say today. Cameras flash inside when Kody shows up, face tight, jaw clenched hard enough to hurt. Robin follows him, eyes red from another night without sleep. Christine appears a few moments later, calm but grave. Her hair is tied back, her attire plain, dignified. She is less a vengeful woman and more one proceeding toward her own judgment. The courtroom doors shut behind her, and tension hangs in the air. The judge removes his glasses and adjusts them. We will proceed with the testimony. Mrs. Brown, please take the stand. Christine stands once more slowly this time. She affirms, her hands firm now. Yesterday, she addressed betrayal. Today, she's prepared to address pain. My narrative did not conclude when I departed, she starts softly. That was only the beginning. What ensued subsequently, that's what shattered me, her lawyer inclines. Christine, you referred to emotional distress. Could you clarify what you went through during the months leading up to your exit? Christine exhales, her voice shaking. It began small. He stopped visiting. Initially, I believed he was only busy with Robin's children, but then I understood. He wasn't just away. He'd decided to be away. The courtroom is silent. Even Kody glances away, hard focusing on the table. There were days, Christine continues. I'd set a plate for him at dinner out of habit. My girls would ask, Is Dad coming tonight? And I'd have to lie, say he was busy filming, say he'd call later. But the truth was he didn't call. Not for weeks, her voice breaks. When I finally called him out on it, he said I was being too negative. That my energy was repelling him. That's how it always went. I'd request love, and in some way it was my fault that I did. Her attorney allows the pause to linger, allowing the emotion to catch up before proceeding. Christine, was there ever a time when you felt threatened for your safety? Christine nods weakly. Not bodily, but emotionally. Yes. I was vanishing. I'd stand in front of the mirror and not know the woman staring back. I was still smiling on camera, still uttering the correct words, but inside, I was lost. The crowd shifts uneasily. Some in the gallery brush away tears. This isn't about money anymore, it's about survival. Kody's attorney rises suddenly. Objection. We're getting into emotional melodrama. The judge shakes his head. Overruled. The emotional impact is part of this case. Christine looks Kody in the eye for the first time that day. You remember the day you told me love was a choice? She asks softly. You said you didn't feel attracted to me anymore, and that I needed to accept it like a spiritual test. Kody's face becomes flinty, but he doesn't answer. The silence speaks volumes. Her attorney intervenes once more. Christine, what did you do after that talk? I prayed, she replies matter-of-factly. Not for him to love me once more, but for courage to cease loving someone who didn't care whether I was alive. The judge makes an entry in his notes. The air is charged and heavy, full of feeling and reality that no courtroom word can hold. Her attorney shifts gears. Christine, the court has seen text messages and emails indicating emotional manipulation and financial coercion. How did the messages impact your mental health? Christine shakes her head. They made me question myself. Everything I said was spun around. I'd ask about bills, and he'd tell me that I was ungrateful. I'd ask about spending time with the kids, and he'd tell me that I was selfish. Eventually, I quit asking. She hesitates, voice cracking. It's weird. You don't know how deep control runs until you begin to breathe without it, and it feels all wrong. The judge clears his throat. Mrs. Brown, did you receive counseling or assistance during this time? Yes, she states quietly, but I couldn't say his name during the sessions without weeping. The therapist said something to me that really stuck. She said, "You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm." That's when I realized I had to leave. Kody squirms uneasily. His attorney tries to tell him something, but Kody shushes him. He's scowling now, but it's the scowl of a man crumbling, not one yielding power. The next item of evidence materializes on the screen, a family group text. Kody's message states, Christine's choice hurts all of us. She's killing what we worked for. Below it, Janelle's soft response. Sometimes truth stings more than lies, gasps sweep through the court. The emotional fortifications of this family are breaking down before everyone's eyes. Christine takes a deep breath and closes her eyes for a second, the memories coming back. That's when I knew, she speaks softly. Leaving wasn't betrayal, it was survival. I had been taught that loyalty was staying no matter how painful it was. But true loyalty begins with being honest, with yourself. The judge requests a quick break, allowing everyone to catch their breath. Christine takes a seat next to her attorney, slowly exhaling. Her hands are slightly shaking, but her eyes are strong. Over by Robin finally has something to say. Her voice trembles. You don't get it, Christine. We were all broken. You just quit. Christine addresses her, her voice flat but incisive. No, Robin, I just quit pretending. The words cut through the courtroom like a knife. Robin's been slapped. Kody massaged his temples, clearly apart at the seams now. Christine's attorney leans in and whispers, We've got him where we want him. One more round of testimony, and we'll rest the case. Christine nods but lets her mind wander. She thinks about birthdays spent apart, dinners eaten alone, children questioning her about things she had no answers for. The years of smiling and pretending. All of it culminating in this place, staring out at a room full of strangers, speaking the truth she used to hide behind faith and smiles. The judge returns, signaling that proceedings will continue. We'll allow one more round of questioning before recess, he says. Kody's lawyer stands, smoothing his suit. Mrs. Brown, he begins, isn't it true that your resentment began when Mr. Brown chose to spend more time with Robin? Christine tilts her head slightly. My resentment began when he stopped being a husband to anyone but her. The courtroom stirs. Kody's face turns red, his composure cracking. You're twisting everything, he mutters. Christine doesn't flinch. Am I? Or is this just the first time you've had to listen instead of talk? The judge bangs his gavel. Order in the court. Kody sits back down, visibly seething. Christine stays composed, her lawyer's hand steadying hers under the table. Mrs. Brown, the judge instructs, I'll pose one more question for clarity. What are you looking for here today? Christine raises her eyes, tears shining but held in check. I'm not asking for money or vengeance. I just want recognition that what he did wasn't love, that it was control masquerading as devotion. The judge regards her for a long moment, then nods. We'll recess for today. Testimony will continue tomorrow. As the gavel drops, the room breathes as one. The crowd mutters, reporters dash outside, and the Brown family breaks apart a little more with each step they take away. Christine descends the steps of the courthouse, flashes of cameras in her face, microphones pushed into her. She has nothing to say this time. She doesn't need to. The world has already heard enough for one day. But deep within, she realizes, tomorrow it will be worse. Tomorrow, the truths hidden behind faith, loyalty, and family will finally emerge. Session 4, The Confession. The courtroom air seemed thicker than ever. Each word uttered now had meaning, facts that could kill, deceit that could restore reputations. Christine remained still, eyes shining as Kody's attorney stood once more, his voice icier. "Harder, Your Honor," he started, pacing the room. "We've heard it all from Mrs. Brown. But what if I told you that there is something more? Something she's been keeping to herself?" Christine's heart sank. Her attorney leaned to her and whispered for her to remain calm, but her heart pounded. Her attorney presented a sealed folder to the judge. A murmur of gasps echoed throughout the courtroom as he went on. "These are bank statements, bank transfers, and correspondence, all under Christine's name. Significant amounts transferred after she departed Kody. Money intended for shared family property." Christine's mouth opened, but nothing was said. "That's not true," she finally yelled. "Those were my savings, money I had earned, money I had kept hidden because I knew he'd take it all from me." The judge held up a hand, but the damage was done. The audience was muttering, the reporters writing faster, retention booster, every truth comes with a price, and Christine was about to pay hers in public. Kody leaned forward, his smirk replaced by something darker. "So you were hiding money," he said quietly, loud enough for the mic to catch. Christine turned to face him. "I was hiding my survival," she replied. "You left me no choice." The courtroom fell silent again. Her attorney rose in a flash. "Your Honor, the money wasn't stolen or misused. It was put aside after they broke up, when Mr. Brown continued to refuse to support Christine and her children. We can offer receipts, emails, and testimony of witnesses to prove this." But Kody's lawyer wasn't finished. "Witnesses?" he sneered. "You mean Janelle?" The room came alive. Janelle glared up, surprised. "Yes," Christine's attorney affirmed. "Janelle Brown will testify." Everyone looked at her. Janelle faltered. She wasn't accustomed to being in the spotlight, but she had given Christine her word that she would tell the truth. She got up, her voice steady but quivering at the edges. "I was there," Janelle replied. "Christine explained the account to me. She was afraid, not of cheating on Kody, but of being able to feed her children without asking him for permission." Kody's jaw clenched. "You're turning everything around, Janelle." I'm not distorting anything," she cut in, her cool exterior faltering under emotion. "You treated us as pieces of your kingdom, each wife part of your authority. You speak of unity, but all you ever desired was compliance." Gasps again filled the courtroom. Even the judge couldn't conceal his discomfort. Retention booster. When friends become witnesses, honesty stings harder than treachery. Christine gazed at Janelle with appreciation and shame. She knew how difficult it was for her to testify against Kody, even today. The attorney pressed on. "So, Mrs. Brown, Janelle, would you characterize the money Christine had put away as essential?" "Yes," Janelle replied decidedly. She had it as her safety net. "And for real, if I had been more intelligent, I would have done the same." The courtroom murmured in concurrence. Kody's attorney scowled, shuffling papers. "Nonetheless, Your Honor, this indicates fraud, premeditation." "Premeditation to stay alive?" Christine replied softly. Next was something no one saw coming. Robin, quiet for much of the trial, jumped to her feet. "Enough," she said, her words shaking. "All of you are ripping this family apart." The judge cautioned her to sit, but she refused. Tears ran down her face. "You think Kody's the bad guy, but you don't know what it's like. He ain't perfect, but neither is Christine. We were all broke before this courtroom opened its doors." Her words lingered in the air, raw and urgent. Kody stretched out as if to reassure her, but Robin moved back. "Don't," she breathed. "Not here." The judge had to step in at last. "Mrs. Brown, please sit down." Robin wiped away her tears and complied. But the hush she had left was eerie. Retention booster. Even the most abiding loyalties can break when the truth begins blazing through the cracks. Christine's attorney cleared his throat. "Your Honor, today's hearing made one thing abundantly clear. This case is not merely about money. It's about emotional manipulation, control of finances, and the eroding of trust." The judge nodded. "We'll reconvene tomorrow. But I want all parties to remember, This courtroom is not for revenge, it's for justice. With the fall of the gavel, Christine breathed a final sigh, shaking. She glanced at Janelle and breathed. "Thank you." Janelle squeezed her hand. "Just be honest tomorrow. All of it." Christine nodded, her eyes welling up with tears again. But glancing over the room, Kody was glaring at her. Not with fury, but with calculation. He huddled closer to his attorney and said something in a low voice that made the man's eyes go wide. Whatever it wasn't good. Since Kody had only just come to realize that if Christine was going to reveal his secrets, he would first reveal hers. The next morning, the steps of the courthouse were crowded. Reporters yelled out questions, cameras flashed, and whispers hummed like static in the fall air. Everyone knew, today it would be over. Christine walked up the stairs, her head held high but her heart racing. She couldn't sleep the night before. Those old pictures, whatever Kody had, towered over her like a thundercloud. She had secrets as well, ones she never wanted to see the light of day. In the courtroom, it was tense inside. Kody sat at his table, jaw clenched, eyes hard. His attorney was confident, too confident. Christine's team appeared fatigued but resolute. The judge entered. "Let's get on with it," he said. Christine's attorney started. "Your Honor, today we bring not only papers but the truth about years of emotional bondage. My client's actions, her escape, her silence, were the product of survival, not lies." But before he could go on, Kody's attorney stood up. "Your Honor, we have new evidence." Gasps erupted in the room. Christine's throat became dry. Kody's attorney walked up to the stand and presented a folder. "Photographs," he announced. "Taken in the year Christine was still married. Evidence she carried on another affair well before they'd separated." Christine's world imploded. The photographs were grainy and old, but authentic. She recalled the day, years in the past, when she had run into an old acquaintance in need of solace. Nothing more than friendship occurred, but the photographs didn't concern themselves with motivation. The audience murmured. Kody looked victorious for the first time in days. Sometimes truth doesn't destroy you, the half-truths do. Christine stood slowly. Her lawyer whispered, "We can object, say they're irrelevant," but she shook her head. "No, I'll face it." She approached the stand, took a breath, and addressed the court. "Those are real pictures. But they don't depict betrayal. They depict a woman who was already invisible. I wasn't cheating, I was lonely. I was holding on to the only person who still saw me." Her voice trembled, but she went on. "Yes, I met him. Yes, I spoke with him. But I never violated my vows. Kody violated them a long time ago, with lies, neglect, and manipulation." A silence descended. Even the judge inched forward a little. Kody's attorney smirked. "That's an interesting tale, Mrs. Brown, but the court doesn't base decisions on feelings." Christine turned to the jury. "Perhaps it should." The words hit hard. Even the cameras caught it. The courage, the exhaustion, the rawness. Her lawyer followed up. "Your Honor, these photos only prove one thing, that my client is human. But if we're trading secrets today, let's be fair." He flashed a USB drive. "Exhibit D banking statements of Mr. Brown depositing money into a secret account, tucked away from his wives. The same money he now says was included in joint family assets." Kody's eyes grew wide. "That's not true." Christine's attorney smirked. "It's on paper. And those funds? They didn't go towards family support. They were used to finance Robin's independent business, registered in her maiden name." Robin clasped her mouth, tears welling up once more. "Kody, you said, I did it for us?" he snapped. The courtroom exploded again. The judge slammed his gavel. "Order, order." In a courtroom of lies, the loudest truth is silence. Christine's lawyer turned to the jury. For years, this woman was silenced, belittled, and manipulated. Every secret she kept was for survival. Every lie she told was to protect her children. And now, the truth is here for all to see. He looked toward Kody. "And the truth doesn't flatter you." The defense scrambled, but it was too late. The jury had seen enough. When the judge asked for closing arguments, Kody rose from his seat. "Your Honor, I created this family. I gave up everything for them." Christine quietly, to herself, said, "You created an empire, not a family." Kody banged his fist on the table. "You want to make me out to be a monster? You all took advantage of me, every single one of you." He glared at Janelle, then Robin, then Christine. "You made my faith, my love, a weapon, Christine stood up. No, Kody, you made it happen yourself. The judge finally stood up to his booming voice. Enough! I've heard all I need to hear. The courtroom was dead silent. Even the reporters were holding their breath. He shifted his glasses, his voice measured but stern. In the case of financial impropriety, rights of custody, and emotional distress, this court holds for Christine Brown. No one stirred for a moment. Then a joint gasp filled the room. Christine let out a breath, streaming tears down her face. Kody's expression became blank. Shock, fury, incredulity, all tangled together. He leaned back in his chair. The judge went on. In addition, this court finds it advisable to have a formal inquiry into Mr. Brown's alleged misuse of common assets. The gavel fell again, final, ringing. Christine let out a shaky breath, her hands over her face. Janelle pulled her into a tight hug, whispering, "It's over." "You did it." But Christine shook her head. "It's not over," she murmured. "It's just finally honest." On the other side of the room, Kody remained still. Robin attempted to take his hand, but he moved away from her. For the first time, he was not the one in command. He was the one who was left behind. The photographers closed in as Christine left the courtroom, cameras flashing across her face. But she didn't blink. She appeared more powerful, lighter, nearly reborn. Outside, she stopped on the steps of the courthouse. The crowd was yelling questions, but one journalist's voice rang out. "Christine, do you have anything to say to Kody?" She turned, looking steadfast, voice unruffled. "Yes, thank you for finally letting me find myself again." The cameras snapped. That sentence would be played back on every news channel, every clip. As she headed to her car, Janelle trailed behind, smiling through tears. "What now?" she asked. Christine gazed up at the sky. "Now, I begin to live, not just survive." Far away in the courthouse window, Kody saw her walk away. The man who used to have 4 wives now had none, and for the first time, he understood that control had never been love. When the gavel comes down, the truth doesn't vanish, it resonates. What would you do if you were Christine? Speak out below and let me know, because this courtroom might be closed, but the story is far from finished.